Good evening from Bafut subdivision in the northwest region of Cameroon. This is the 7 p.m. newscast. We begin with the headlines. Christians all over the world today celebrate the Ash Wednesday, a significant day that portrays a solemn reminder of human mortality and the need for reconciliation with God. 1 year after the Ngabu massacre that claimed the lives of at least 21 civilians, including 10 children, 4 women, with one being pregnant, according to statistics from BBC News, the governor of the northwest region of Cameroon, Adolphe Lele Lafrique, together with some administrative authorities, visited the scene of the incident with cash gifts to the families of victims worth 80 million francs CFA. And in sports, Cameroon's Football Federation, that's a FECAFOOT headed by Seydou Mbombo-Njoya, has set Saturday, February 27 and Sunday, February 28 for the kickoff of opening matches of the Professional Football League 2 and 1 respectively, even though the Football Commission headed by Senator Albert Mbida has indefinitely suspended Seydou Mbombo-Njoya, OC Joshua, Abubakar Konet, Gilbert Kaji, and of course 12 other football officials in FECAFOOT from all football activities. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all for the headlines. Stay tuned for the details of these stories and more. Good evening once more and welcome back. In a press release signed yesterday, that's on Monday rather, February 15 of 2021, Cameroonian Army Captain Cyril Serge Antofa Guemo acknowledges the involvement of 2 soldiers in the torture of an alleged Ambazonia. The facts took place on Thursday, February 11 of 2021 in the locality of Ndu, northwest region of Cameroon. Details in this report. After the publication of an amateur video on social media on Saturday, February 13, 2021, presenting a man questioned, then abused and beaten by elements of the Defense and Security Forces, the Defense Ministry released a press release on Monday, February 15, 2021 to be indignant at the attitude of his men. The scene took place on Thursday, February 11, 2021 in the locality of Ndu, Donga Mountain Division, northwest region of Cameroon, one of the regions plagued by the secessionist crisis for nearly 4 years. In the said statement signed by the spokesperson of the Cameroonian Army, Captain Cyril Serge Antofa Guemo, the army acknowledges the involvement of some of its elements in this act of torture of an alleged Ambazonian. He also declared that it was easy for the command to identify the elements of the Defense and Security Forces compromised in this unacceptable act. There are currently 2 gendarmes, 2 soldiers, and 4 policemen. Moreover, the first investigations carried out led to the identification of the victim, Jean Fei Fungong, suspected of being a local criminal and terrorist, the press release read. It is underlined below that these identified elements were immediately arrested at the Territorial Brigade of the Ndu Gendarmerie on the instructions of the Minister Delegate to the Presidency in charge of Defense, Joseph Beti Asomo. According to the information made public by the Ministry of Defense, the disciplinary, administrative, and judicial investigations prescribed by the High Command and opened by the local administrative authorities and the Defense and Security Forces will make it possible to clarify the outline of these intolerable actions, breaking with, on the one hand, respect for the rules of engagement, and on the other hand, the protection of human rights, cardinal principles to which the elements of the Defense and Security Forces are firmly bound. It should be remembered that the Cameroonian Army had also recognized the involvement of soldiers in the Ngabu massacre, which claimed the lives of several people in the northwest region of Cameroon on February 14, 2020. According to the head of the Coordination Officer for Humanitarian Affairs of the United Nations, at the time of the fact, the toll showed at least 22 deaths, including 14 children. A report confirmed by several non-governmental organizations such as Human Rights Watch. According to Jeune Afrique, in an article published on April 22, 2020, the conclusions of the investigations made public on April 21, 2020 through a press release from the Presidency of the Republic overwhelmed the battalion commander Nyangono Z. Charles Eric, commander of the 52nd Battalion of Motorized Infantry, Sergeant Babangida, designated as the organizer of the drama, Constable Sandin Cyril, and Private First Class Haranga Gilbert. Christians all over the world today celebrate the Ash Wednesday, a significant day that portrays a solemn reminder of human mortality and the need for reconciliation with God. The day marks the beginning of the penitential Lenten season and is commonly observed with the celebration of a mass, ashes, and fasting. The ashes placed on the forehead signifies repent and belief in the gospel, or remember that you are thus and unto thus you shall return. It is preceded by Shrove Tuesday and falls on the first day of Lent and the 6 weeks of penitence before Easter. Ash Wednesday is observed by Catholics in the Roman Rite, Anglicans, Lutherans, Methodists, Moravians, Nazarenes, and Independent Catholics, as well as by many from the Reformed faith like Presbyterians. 1 year after the Ngabu massacre that claimed the lives of at least 21 civilians, including 10 children, 4 women, with 1 being pregnant, according to statistics from BBC News, the governor of the Northwest region of Cameroon, Adolphe Lele Lafrique, together with some administrative authorities, visited the scene of the incident with cash gift to the families of the victims worth 80 million francs CFA. 1 year on, and so far, what has become of the perpetrators, the locality, and the promise made by the Cameroonian government? Report. On February 14 of 2020, a sad history was made in Gabu in the town of Tumbwa in Dzu Donga Mantung Division, Northwest region of Cameroon. At least 21 persons were killed during a reconnaissance mission, which was authorized on February 12, 2020 by Major Nyangono Z. Charles Eric, commander of the 52nd Motorized Infantry Battalion in Kambe, and led by Sergeant Babangida, commander of the Tumbwa Joint Regime. Initially, no one claimed responsibility for the attack, while the separatists blamed government forces. The Cameroonian government admitted that the Cameroonian army had been responsible for the death and claimed civilians were killed by an accidental explosion that had been triggered when stray bullets had hit the fuel tank during a firefight with separatist fighters. While civilians denied these claims, pressure was mounted by national and international human rights organizations for the Cameroonian government to investigate this barbaric incident. The Cameroon head of state, Paul Biya, then ordered an inquiry through the creation of an inquiry commission, which comprised of army and gendarmerie officers placed under the authority of the Secretary of State at the Ministry of Defense, in charge of the National Gendarmerie and chaired by a military, judicial and legal officer. The commission of inquiry later discovered that the team which carried out the February 14 strategy, led by Sergeant Babangida, launched an attack based on information provided by a repentant terrorist in the area. According to the commission, following an exchange of gunfire during which 5 terrorists were killed and many weapons seized, and also 3 women and 10 children lost their lives, the team tried to conceal the fact by causing fire. After the act, Sergeant Babangida was later accused of failing to control his troops during the operation, ordering the burning down of houses and producing a false report in an effort to cover up his tracks. After this incident, the Cameroon head of state, Paul Biya, had ordered the exhumption of the corpses of the victims in order to give them a befitting burial, and also the creation of a military base in Gabu for better security. During Adolphe Lele Lafrique's visit, he had asked the population of the region to state their readiness so that the corpses can be exhumed and given a befitting burial, as the head of state demanded. Even though the government had stated that Sergeant Babangida, Gendarme Sangin Cyril, and Private First Class Haranga Gilbert were already at the Yaoundé Military Tribunal, with 10 other members of the Vigilante Committee who assisted the team to launch the attack being tracked down, only 3 of the 23 suspects have appeared in court so far. The first case was heard on December 17, 2020, but was adjourned to January 2021 and later adjourned to February 18 of 2021. The world is waiting for justice to be served. The World Trade Organization has appointed a former Nigerian Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the new Director General. Ngozi now becomes the first woman and also the first African to lead the Switzerland-based institution. Her appointment came after the World Trade Organization had a special General Council meeting on Monday as U.S. President Joe Biden strongly swung behind her candidacy shortly after the only other remaining contender, that's South Korean Trade Minister Yoon Myung-hee, put out. A 66-year-old Okonjo-Iweala serves as her country's first female finance and a foreign minister and has a 25-year career behind her as a development economist at the World Bank. Okonjo-Iweala, who also served on Twitter's board of directors as chair of the Gavi Vaccine Alliance and as a special envoy for the World Health Organization's COVID-19 fight, saw her candidacy get a boost when the European Union threw its weight behind her. Georgia sinks last Tuesday by the International Criminal Court. Two former anti-Balaka military leaders in the Central African Republic have denied any involvement in the war crimes and crimes against humanity that occurred during the civil war between 2013 and 2014. More details in this report. Already 2 days of trial at the International Criminal Court for Patrice Edouard Nguessona and Alfred Yekatom, these two former Central African military leaders on Tuesday, February 16, 2021, rejected the accusations of war crimes and crimes against humanity procured against them. Patrice Edouard Nguessona, former Central African Minister for Sport, and Alfred Yekatom, nicknamed Rambo, are on trial for alleged crimes committed in the Central African Republic during the civil war between 2013 and 2014. Nguessona and Yekatom, detained by the International Criminal Court respectively since November 2018 and January of 2019, are notably accused of murder, rape, torture, forcible transfer of population, persecution, and other inhuman acts. 53-year-old Patrice Edouard Nguessona told the Hague Court yesterday that he does not identify with the charges against him and that he is not guilty, while 46-year-old Alfred Yekatom gave a similar response, saying these charges are incorrect. The Hague-based court determined in December of 2019 that there was enough evidence to open a trial against the two former anti-Balaka military leaders whose cases were joined. Before the court, prosecutor Kweku Vendepuye said that the evidence in this case will establish the criminal responsibility of Nguessona and Yekatom beyond a reasonable doubt. According to him, the crimes with which they are accused of are of such a scale that they transgress the very nature of our humanity. According to the International Criminal Court, Nguessona would have been the highest leader of the anti-Balaka. He was at the time president of the Central African Football Federation and member of the Executive Committee of the African Football Confederation (CAF). In 2019, FIFA banned him from any football-related activities for more than 6 years. Yekatom, a deputy, was the first suspect to be handed over to the International Criminal Court as part of his investigation into the Central African Republic, opened in 2014. Still a member of the Central African Parliament, he is currently replaced by a deputy. He reportedly commanded a group of around 3,000 anti-Balaka fighters. Elif Kepler, Deputy Director of the International Justice Section at the non-governmental organization Human Rights Watch, on the sidelines of the hearing, said in a statement that the opening of the trial is an important step for the justice of the victims of brutal crimes committed in the last conflict in the Central African Republic. The opening of the trial thus takes place in a context of persistent unrest in the Central African Republic, where 6 of the 14 armed groups which control 2/3 of the country launched an offensive against the region of President Faustin Archange Touadera in mid-December 2020. The Central African Republic has been plunged into an endless civil war since a rebel coalition dominated by Muslims, the Selaka, overthrew then-President François Bozizé in 2013, leading to the creation of an armed Christian group known as Militias Anti-Balaka, and who then said they had taken up arms to put an end to the abuse of Muslim armed groups. The first round of hearing in this trial are to be held until Friday, February 19, 2021. Cameroon's Football Federation, that's FECAFOOT, headed by Seydou Mbombo-Njoya, has set a Saturday, February 27th and Sunday, February 28, 2021 for the kickoff of opening matches of Professional Football Leagues 2 and 1 respectively. According to football officials, the other matches of League 2 and 1 will take place on Saturday 6th and Sunday 7th of March 2021 respectively. In a meeting yesterday, Tuesday, February 16, 2021, at the FECAFOOT headquarters Yaoundé, chaired by Seydou Mbombo-Njoya, club presidents and other football officials agreed to keep aside their differences and to ensure the smooth resumption of the local football championship after over 10 months of absence. On the other hand, the Football Commission, headed by Senator Albert Mbida, has indefinitely suspended Seydou Mbombo Joya, Osi Joshua, Abubakar Konat, Gilbert Kaji, and other 12 football officials in Fecafoot from all football activities. It is noted that the Court of Arbitration for Sports, that CAS, had earlier suspended the administration of Seydou Mbombo Joya at the helm of Fecafoot for abuse of social property. It remains unclear if the championship will start as stated by Fecafoot. Ladies and gentlemen, it is on that note that we end the 7 p.m. edition of the news. Thank you for your kind attention, and until tomorrow, be safe and have a blessed evening.